In my inner dance journey, there was a moment. This is the last thing. There was a moment. Thank you so much for staying on so long.
Mm.
Thank you. So you're really wonderful. There was a moment where I was going to energetic sessions, and I was having like these visuals, like these strong visuals about this woman, and like having like very strong emotions, and it was so strong. It was like I was having like a law of attraction meditation, like with the visuals and feeling and see. So afterwards, I had like these impulses that really pulled me toward that. Like, I need to go there. This is like my future. This is my path. And I really didn't know like how do I like what do I do with this? It was so new for me. Like, and I remember I was telling you this. Do you remember what you told me?
Mm, I- we spoke quite a bit about it. I don't remember
Yeah.
which part
You
of what I
you were
said you're
you were
thinking about.
telling me about how when orange opens up, there's material that comes up. Remember that part?
Mm-hmm.
And that you don't necessarily have to, it doesn't mean that it has to manifest like in 3D, that you just have to allow that to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it was like I was having all these impulses and I really didn't know what to do with them. And I tried to communicate it and stuff. And it's only when I said it to you, you're like, oh, we've seen this before with people during immersives or retreats that they have like these connections that they become aware of. Um, and just that you said that and you explained it so calmly and normally, it really like it's like, okay, this is like normal thing. It's not like a big thing that I need to do something. This is like, because it was so strong. It's like, okay, okay, like okay. And then I remember during an inner dance session, there was just like one moment where there was just like I fell into the heart space, and then from the heart space, everything like just like cleared up and everything became like calm again. I was like, okay, it was all stories playing out with the material that was presenting itself.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Energetically, we hold a lot of shame in the sacral. And so when things come up that might have been unsorted in relation to relationships or the emotions that are spinning and churning and waking up in the sacral, especially in a session like inner dance where things are moving, right? Um, it's really easy for things to come up in the sacral. And sometimes it's hard to know what to do with shame when it's there because it feels like it's a thought or that it's easier to think it through. Or do I do this? Do I not do this? Like, do I act on my feelings? Do I just feel them? It's a lot harder for us sometimes to just sit with, like, it's okay to feel this. You don't have to be ashamed of what you're feeling. It also doesn't mean you have to act on what you feel, but are you okay to feel it and not feel ashamed that you have it?
Hmm. Yeah. It's nice to be able to have somebody and actually talk about it, because yeah, there was nobody that I could really like talk to it in this kind of way. Like, you bring it down.
Mm,
Because usually, like in the energetic sessions, like they say, like, oh, everything that happens during a session, it's not that real important. Focus on what's happening outside of the session when you go home, the changes and stuff. But like certain things, it's like I don't want to say imprint, but it's like they have such a strong like drop, or such a strong like woof, the way they come, that's, yeah, it just stays for a while.
mm, yeah. I
Hmm.
would never tell anyone to only focus on what comes up when they go home. That almost seems to then bypass what was coming up during the session. And if it came up during the session, definitely there's going to be something to work on when you go home, but not because it's separate, it's because it's connected. Um, and you can't separate the session from afterwards necessarily.
Mm.
Otherwise, you're going to lock things into just this container of, um, in the US, we have this saying like, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it does not work like that in energy sessions. No, it doesn't. You can't say what happens in the session stays in the session. It's not like that at all. Then
Mm.
exactly like why people say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas is because so many things are opening up. You don't want to remember them all, or you don't want to associate yourself with yourself when you were in that moment, right? It's like, no, that never happened. If
Mm.
you do that in energy work, you're just going to suppress everything that was trying to be seen, heard, expressed, released, or um, just given voice in some moment. Um, a lot of times these
Mm.
things come up because we are ready for another form of reintegration after seeing it differently through a session. But if you just try to say, nope, that happened in the session, it's not relevant. Yeah. Yeah, that'll come back at some point.
Yeah. Mm.